In the Serengeti Mara ecosystem, the dry season shrinks the grassland. Every animal is forced toward the same water point. The gap between predator and prey closes. That is the hunter's advantage. The wet season opens migration corridors thousands of kilometers long. No solitary predator can stop prey on the move. A coordinated lion pride can bring down prey twice their own weight. The cheetah's speed is the fastest in the world, but it holds only for the first 3 seconds. But every animal carries its own weapon. Every animal carries its own weakness. The first lesson is beginning. Dawn is the most favorable hour for a lion pride. Cool enough to sustain effort through the chase. Light enough to read the terrain. A 7-year-old lioness weighing approximately 145 kilograms. On Thata's shoulders rests the heaviest responsibility. Any hunter on the savannah can carry, teaching her cubs how to survive. 45 days after birth, lion cubs begin to observe. Observation is the only way to survive to adulthood. In a pride, there is no organized classroom. Knowledge is earned by watching. A paradox of the encirclement. The lone runner has a higher probability of being taken down than the one who stands and fights. This is the moment when prey switches roles. When every escape route is blocked. 250 kilograms, horns 70 centimeters long, shifting posture from prey to threat. The horns trace out a danger zone nearly 1.5 meters wide, at exactly the height of a lion cub's torso. No lion cub can absorb a direct blow from a wildebeest's horns. This is the limit of the young. Skills are forged through dozens of hunts, lessons the cubs haven't experienced enough to learn. When the target stands its ground, they must approach from the blind spot, not from the front. Prey fights. That is the first lesson. Wildebeest is not the only species that writes its own rules on the savannah, and not every rule is easy to read. The savannah has no absolute champion. Even the apex predator loses. Not to something stronger, to something more patient. On the savannah, there exists a phenomenon so common, it has its own name, kleptoparasitism. The act of stealing food from another hunter. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals. A cheetah's spine is as flexible as a coiled spring, stretching each stride up to 7 meters. Semi-retractable claws grip the ground like cleats, allowing for instant turns without losing speed. The first 3 seconds of every chase marks the moment its prowess is displayed in absolute perfection. No creature on the savannah can hold a candle to the cheetah during that window. A hyena clan with enough members doesn't need to challenge directly. They approach the exhausted cheetah. A 50-kilogram cheetah cannot hold a kill against a clan of 10 to 15 animals. The energy cost of a chase with the meal stolen before the first bite is a pure loss that cannot be recovered. In nearly half the hunts where cheetah makes a kill, the meal is taken before they can eat the first bite. The most perfect speed machine on Earth is defeated, not by speed, but by another's patience. The weakness is not speed. The weakness is temperature. After 500 meters. Even so, spotted hyena is not a creature that waits for others' meals. This is a widespread misconception. 60 to 95% of a spotted hyena's food comes from what it hunts itself. The number shifts by region, but in many areas, hyena hunts more than lion. Spotted hyena society is matriarchal. Females dominate. Males, as a rule, are smaller and rank below every female in the clan. The alpha's daughter ranks immediately below the alpha, above every male regardless of size or age. It is not physical strength that determines rank. It is a social hierarchy, maintained across generations. With all these inversions, spotted hyena is among the most distinctive predators remaining on the continent. They crush bone completely, not dissolve it, crush it into fragments. Then a digestive system running on high acid levels does the rest. Nothing from a carcass is wasted. Hyena is the most efficient bone-to-nutrient processor in the ecosystem. They are equipped to exploit what others leave behind. Not even the strongest, not even the apex predator. If cheetah is the pinnacle of speed, and hyena is the pinnacle of jaw power, then African wild dog is the pinnacle of pack coordination. 3 out of 4 hunts, lion comes back empty. Wild dog is different. More than 6 in 10 hunts end with a meal. Not because they are stronger, because they are never exhausted at the same time. When the dog at the front tires, another takes over. Relay hunting, prey cannot outlast a wild dog pack. But wild dog also has a weakness. A pack typically numbers only 5 to 20 individuals. Losing a few means losing relay capacity. The perfect coordination machine only works when there are enough runners. The perfect coordination machine, yet more fragile than it appears. Cape Buffalo is the boundary that every lion pride must learn to respect before deciding to advance. The largest bull reaches 700 kilograms. The fused hornboss spreads wide from the center of the forehead, flaring to both sides. No solitary predator dares challenge a healthy adult buffalo inside the herd. Precise timing and no small amount of luck. Even with a full-strength pride, a buffalo hunt can bring heavy casualties. The most dangerous animal on the savanna is not always the predator. Every encounter has no fixed script. The buffalo herd to the east today is a calculation, not an opportunity. Buffalo is the only species on the savanna where, when a lion pride approaches, the collective reflex is not to flee. That reflex has been eliminated from the species' genome through centuries of evolution. Each weighing 500 to 700 kilograms, boss horns spreading 1.5 meters wide. No single attack can break. Inside that formation is a detail Thata is searching for. Every buffalo herd keeps its calves at the center. Every calf is potential prey. But only potential while it stands inside the formation. Today's herd is dense enough that the cost of an attack exceeds any possible reward. On the Savanna, fighting at the right moment matters more than fighting the right enemy. And when 1.5 million wildebeest begin moving toward the Mara River, a far larger story is waiting. Once a year, the Savanna performs the largest spectacle remaining on Earth. 1.5 million wildebeest, 500,000 zebra, 2 million animals in total, moving in the same direction. Not because anyone gave an order. Not because there is a central plan. Because grass grows, because rain comes, because predator pressure at the old grounds pushes the herd forward. The Great Migration, the largest overland migration still existing on this planet. A journey of approximately 800 kilometers in a loop each year. From Serengeti north to Masai Mara, then back when the rains shift. Around 10% of the herd dies along the route each year. That is 150,000 to 200,000 animals. The distance is vast and the Savanna is unforgiving. But the remaining 90% complete the journey. Why do these animals accept that risk every year instead of staying put? Because the ground they leave at the end of the dry season has grazed down to nothing. Migration means a very high probability of starvation. Migration carries risk, but that same risk brings the chance of survival. The wisest choice, sometimes, looks like the most reckless decision. The Mara River stands across that route. Banks dropping 4 to 5 meters straight down. Brown, churning water in the wet season. Nile crocodile adults reach 5 meters in length, 500 kilograms in weight. $1,350,000 animals step out of the water and continue moving. Wildebeest's hidden weapon is not its horns or its speed. That weapon is numbers. Share the risk until nothing can stop the whole. This is not idealism. This is mathematics. Individual strength, collective strength. But there is a third kind of weapon on the Savanna, not speed, not numbers, the weapon of family. From experience, a particular respect for what a warthog can do with those tusks. This is the core principle of the Savanna. Every prey animal carries a weapon. Those who underestimate that weapon do not die. They go hungry. The pride just learned the smallest lesson. The largest lesson is waiting ahead. When the lion pride appears, the buffalo herd does not trigger the flight reflex. Only one reflex remains. 100 individuals, each 500 to 700 kilograms, each with a boss horn spreading 1.5 meters wide. 5 million years of evolution built this structure for one purpose alone: to make every attack prohibitively costly. When the buffalo herd is dense enough, there is no safe entry point. The lion pride needs no further proof of that. What stands before the lion pride today is not prey in the conventional sense. These are bodies of 500 to 700 kilograms, with a boss horn designed to attack, not to defend. A single lion facing a mature buffalo. Is death approaching from a different direction? 9 lions, a buffalo herd of 100. That ratio supports no attack from any angle. Then the lion pride spots what the buffalo herd has not yet noticed. A buffalo calf under a year old, weighing far less than a mature animal. But the savanna has no fixed script. The mother notices, not from sound, not from scent, from the movement of the lion pride, from the gap closing between her calf and the herd. That behavioral signal is enough to activate a response honed through millions of years of evolution. She becomes the only barrier between the lion pride and her calf. The mother fights alone, but the buffalo herd is not only the mother. The charge does not need to be precise. It shatters. A lion carrying that injury usually survives a few days. Before collapsing from internal damage, that lion will not last another week. Not because today's confrontation ends it immediately, but because buffalo family stood its ground, and that was enough. Evolution poses the same question in every confrontation between predator and prey. Is the cost of this hunt worth the reward? Warthog runs at 40 kilometers per hour. Tusks on both sides, a weapon few hunters want to absorb. The lion pride learns that not through theory, through failed hunts that cost energy with nothing to show. Wildebeest at 250 kilograms, standing to fight instead of fleeing. It takes the whole pride to handle it, and they can still lose. With buffalo family today, the answer is already written in the lion walking away with a wound that will not heal. Not every hunt is worth it. Certain tolls are only tallied afterward. Buffaloes lack the speed of the cheetah, no ambush tactics of the lion, no collective strength of 1.5 million wildebeests. During the Great Migration, buffalo has something else. A multi-layered defensive unit, an outcome the lion pride will not forget. From now on, every time this pride looks toward a buffalo herd, No one forgets today. 3 payoffs, 3 ways prey fights back. Wildebeest stands alone. 250 kilograms that will not turn and will not yield. Its weapon is decision. 1.5 million leap together. Mathematics defeats all 3 ambush positions. The weapon is collective. The weapon is family. Prey does not only fight back, sometimes prey wins. The hunt ends. But on the savanna, nothing truly ends. Every species returns to what it carries. Wildebeest does not need to be the strongest. It needs to not be the slowest among 1.5 million moving in the same direction. Community is the only weapon wildebeest needs here. A collective pressure system. Tested and proven across millions of years of migration. Lion also has community. 3 out of 4 times lion leaves with an empty stomach. Not just today. For millions of years. This is not individual failure. This is the operational reality of the apex predator. The male guards territory and cubs. Maintaining conditions for the lionesses to hunt safely. Cubs are raised before they can fend for themselves. The lion community is not an equal collective, but it is a resource-sharing system that ensures the whole pride survives lean seasons. The lion community, in its own way, not equal, but sufficient for the entire pride to continue. Today's lesson does not need Thata to explain it to the cubs. The real cost has already done that. A pride member walks with a wound that will not heal. On the savanna, the wrong lesson often arrives first, before its full price is understood. Buffaloes are not the only species with a defensive formation, but buffaloes are the only ones on this savanna that can use that formation to turn the tables. An irreversible outcome. Cheetah is still running. After losing nearly half its meals to hyena, wild dog, and lion, cheetah still hunts. Because the first 3 seconds of every chase are absolute perfection. Nothing on the savanna matches a cheetah in those 3 seconds. Every animal on this savanna is carrying wounds in some form. Cheetah loses nearly half its meals to those more patient, yet continues to hunt. Wild dog keeps the pack thin enough to relay without breaking, yet maintains the highest hunt success rate on the savanna. Wildebeest leaves 150,000 animals along the route each year. Yet 1 1/3 million others continue the journey. And all of them are surviving. But today, one lion is carrying a wound, not from a failed hunt. From prey that did not run. Prey does not only fight back, sometimes prey wins. The survival war between carnivore and herbivore has existed longer than any species alive on this planet. Every species is evolution's answer to pressure from the other side, but the world of that war is changing. Not because lion grew weaker, not because wildebeest lost its horns, but because the space where that war is fought is shrinking. At the start of the 20th century, there were approximately 200,000 lion across Africa and into India. Today, 22,000 to 25,000 remain, 6% of the historic range. The rest is gone. Not because prey grew strong enough that lions could no longer hunt, but because of habitat loss, conflict with humans when lions take livestock, and collapsing wild prey populations from external pressure. IUCN lists lion as vulnerable. The war lion has not lost in millions of years now, has a new front. The Great Migration is not only a natural event, it depends on migration corridors. An unbroken stretch of land from start to finish. In their heyday, the Mara Loiter wildebeests numbered over 100,000. Since 2020, as fencing spread, their numbers have dropped below 25,000. That is a 75% decline in less than a decade. "90% of the Great Migration's historic corridor has been encroached on or severed. The war between carnivore and herbivore is a balance designed across tens of millions of years. When the environment changes, the balance does not hold. IUCN lists lechwe as vulnerable. Globally, approximately 158,000 lechwe remain. In 16 years, from 2006 to 2021, the population dropped by nearly a third. Kafue lechwe in Zambia is declining faster than that rate, the freshwater wetlands, where lechwe is the undisputed master, are being drained for agriculture. When lechwe's weapon is terrain, and that terrain is disappearing, the terms of lechwe's war change with it. The struggle for survival, unfolding every day on the savanna, is not the problem. The problem is when. That struggle loses the conditions to take place. On this savanna, it is not the strongest that rules. It is not the fastest that survives, but the one who knows when to stand its ground. The one that fights for something larger than itself. That one sometimes cannot be defeated. The answer to the planet's oldest battle isn't about who is stronger. Sometimes the answer is that the prey doesn't just fight back. Sometimes the prey comes out on top. There are many battles like this happening right now, on the savanna, in the ocean, in the rainforest. Every species carries its own weapon. From the tropical forests of Central America to the wetlands of the Pantanal, a single predator dominates every habitat it enters. Jaguar, the American big cat with the strongest bite force relative to body size of any living cat, surpassing both lion and tiger. Its lower jaw does not tear flesh in the conventional way. It crushes, punching straight through the prey's skull. This is the only big cat that routinely includes reptiles as a primary part of its diet, and not small ones. The swamp assassin. In the Pantanal, the largest wetland on Earth, jaguar moves silently along riverbanks, waiting for prey that believes itself safe in the water. Then, in a single instant, one strike of absolute precision. The jaguar's jaws close and crush directly through the skull of a large black caiman. Along the coasts of Central America, jaguar has developed a hunting skill found nowhere else on Earth. Using the most powerful bite in the cat family, jaguar can punch through the shell of a sea turtle right at its nesting beach. But the story holds an unexpected paradox. The presence of this killer actually saves turtle lives in a different way. Jaguar drives away coati, a highly effective nest raider from the raccoon family, keeping them clear of the nesting beaches. Fewer coatis means more sea turtle nests survive. A predator is safeguarding the future generation of its very own prey and unintentionally shielding the creature it hunts. This indirect balance is something nature achieves far more effectively than any conservation plan humans have designed. Yet, only around 64,000 jaguar remain in the wild. IUCN lists them as near threatened, habitat loss, wildlife corridors disappearing, prey populations declining. Every jaguar that vanishes is one more broken link in the ecological chain, and the paradox deepens. Protecting jaguars also means protecting sea turtles. Two seemingly opposite creatures are actually two sides of the same coin, bound in an ecological dance that humans are only beginning to understand. The ocean covers 70% of the planet's surface, And inside those deep blue waters, migration follows rules no land animal has ever had to learn. Orca, the killer whale, is not actually a whale. It is the largest dolphin on Earth and perhaps the most strategically sophisticated predator alive. Each orca pod carries its own dialect, a sound system no other pod can decode. They pass hunting techniques down through generations, creating what scientists call culture, a concept once considered exclusive to humans. Off the coast of Antarctica, their hunting has astonished researchers with what is known as the wave wash technique. The target is a Weddell seal resting on a floating ice floe, convinced it is safe. The tactic, a pod of typically 4 to 6 orca lines up horizontally beneath the surface, hundreds of meters from the ice. The decisive action plays out in synchronized coordination as they surge forward at maximum speed. Not to hit the ice directly, but to generate a wave, a massive wall of water that crashes onto the floe, tilting it sharply. If the first attempt fails, they repeat. 3 times, 5 times, as many as it takes, until the seal slides off. This is not blind instinct. This is a calculated tactic. Young orca follow their mothers and aunts, observing hundreds of attempts before attempting it themselves. Using coordinated tactics and memorized migration routes to establish ambush positions. Orca is the only ocean predator capable of planning an ambush weeks in advance, but the wave wash technique is only the beginning. Off the coast of Western Australia, a far more brutal ambush is underway. The target is not a seal, it is a humpback whale calf. In migration season, whale mothers guide their newborns from warm tropical waters back toward productive feeding grounds. Orca know this. They memorize the migration routes and organize ambushes at the precise points, where mothers must pass through shallow coastal channels. The tactic begins with separation. One group uses their massive bodies to block the mother, while the rest isolate the calf. They take turns leaping and pressing down on the calf's blowhole beneath the surface. They do not need to bite or tear, they only need to hold. Although the mother fights with desperate fury, and sometimes other adults join the battle, the odds are rarely in her favor. That is the most brutal moment in the ocean, when collective intelligence overwhelms the raw strength of one individual. But the intelligence of orca is only one chapter in the ocean's book. Off the coast of South Africa, a spectacle is unfolding on a different scale. The sardine dance, the sardine run. Billions of sardines migrate along the eastern coast of South Africa, riding cold upwellings, creating one of the most compressed feeding events on Earth. Cold water surging up from Cape Agulhas pushes the sardine shoals northward, and as they move, an army of predators assembles behind, above, and below. This is not a hunt. This is a symphony. Every predator plays a different instrument, and the sardine shoal is the score. First come common dolphins, pods numbering more than 10,000, moving like a disciplined army beneath the surface. Their echolocation system lets them see through turbid water. Each click bounces back, mapping a precise 3-dimensional picture of the shoal ahead. The tactic begins. Dolphins release curtains of bubbles, while spinning in tight spirals at high speed, compressing the shoal from every side. Billions of sardines are forced into a single massive rotating sphere, the bait ball. The bait ball is a last resort defensive structure when there is nowhere left to flee, but a bait ball is not salvation. It is a death sentence written in instinct. The dolphins do not charge recklessly. Each dolphin approaches the bait ball, takes exactly one sardine, withdraws, then returns to formation. Absolute discipline, because if any predator becomes too greedy, the structure collapses and the shoal scatters, making every hunter's effort wasted. This is the paradox of the sardine run. The predators must restrain their own instincts to keep the food supply intact. But the dolphin's precise restraint is about to be shattered. A dark shadow rises from the deep. Thresher shark, a species whose tail fin accounts for nearly half its total body length. That tail is the weapon. Not the teeth, not the jaws, but a tail like a bullwhip, driven by one of the ocean's most explosive muscular systems. The dramatic moment arrives as the ocean erupts into white chaos. Bubbles, scales, blood, and spray fill the water column. But the final blow has not yet landed. From the darkness below, a colossal mass is rising slowly. A bride's whale, 14 meters long, weighing tens of tons, has been waiting through all of this. It allowed the dolphins and sharks to do the entire work of compressing the bait ball. Now that density has peaked, it moves. Bride's whale does not rush. It waits until the bait ball reaches maximum compression, until the sardines are packed so tightly there is no gap between them. It launches upward from the depths. One surge, with its mouth open wide as a cavern. Thousands of gallons of seawater and thousands of sardines are swallowed in a single breath. One strike, thousands of lives gone. The bait ball collapses completely. All that remains are sardine scales catching the light. Night on the Savanna is not an empty void. It is when the true army that controls this land go on the brutal hunts. A young elephant, cut off from its herd in the dark. The nighttime savanna is the world of the army of darkness. A siege stretching across many hours. No other species on this savanna would dare attempt it. This is a hunt carried out in darkness, brought to a close with extraordinary precision. This is the species that understands the savanna most deeply, and most people still fail to realize it. The hyena has long worn a label: beggar, opportunist, a creature living off the scraps of the strong. That label is entirely wrong. "95% of this species' food, they catch themselves. Not from chance carcasses. Not from what the lion leaves behind. From sieges built on assigned roles and tactics. Organized better than nearly any other predator on this land. Science confirmed this long ago, but the story told to the outside world has never changed. 25 minutes. That is all the time a hyena clan needs to consume an entire zebra. Nothing left at all. This species' digestive system can break down even keratin, the substance forming hooves and horns. No other predator on this continent can do that. This species does not survive by defeating the stronger. They survive by never spending more than they can recover. That is survival economics at its highest level. And it favors the hyena above all else. They can expand your empire while others look the other way. It is the story of how true power is built, from the darkness, in silence, with system. Her name is Nala, and the first question she asks each morning is this: who is on the board today? Hyenas have been here for more than 10 million years. The lion? Around 1.8 million. The cheetah? Less than 1 million. Hyenas are the ones who shaped the savanna, the animals every later species had to adapt to. Most predators control territory by a simple logic. Claim a patch, hold it, defend it. The hyena does not work this way. Nala's clan ranges across more than 1,600 square kilometers. No single member could control all of it alone. And so, they do not try. They split apart, converging when needed. Science calls this a fission-fusion society. The hyena is the only non-primate that does this, at a large and stable scale. They divide labor at the most refined level. Within a clan of 20 to 30 individuals, each small group gathers information from its own zone. Where the food is, what the enemy is doing, which boundaries are shifting. When one group needs support, they call. When the information is enough, they converge. That system is so effective that not a single corner of 1,600 square kilometers goes unwatched. Nala runs a distributed intelligence network. At dawn, she goes to observe. Wild dogs have a hunting success rate of nearly 80%. Higher than the lion, higher than the cheetah. They chase prey at 48 kilometers per hour, across more than 5 kilometers. Nothing in their hunting machinery is wasted. Each pack member knows its role. Performs it, needs no command. But Nala is observing something else. Not the wild dog's hunting technique. She is watching the boundary. The pack is powerful within its own territory. But there is an invisible limit. They will not cross. A boundary they set for themselves and obey. Roughly 200 meters. Nala notes it. Every confrontation is information. Every response from a rival is a map of their limits. And a rival's limit is precisely Nala's free space. To the north, the leader of that pride is Cargo, a lioness who has endured many harsh seasons, weathered and not easily broken. Cargo's territory once held a resident male. A hyena reads the state of a lion pride, not only by sight, but by sound. The roar of an adult male differs from a female's in frequency, in depth, in how the sound rolls across the earth. And Nala does not hear an adult male's voice from the north. Cargo's pride is defending its territory without a male. What does that mean? It means every external threat must be handled by the females. Cargo is carrying a burden she cannot bear forever. A structural weakness. And this weakness does not need a stronger rival to exploit it, only a more patient one. It is not yet time to act. Nala knows the right opportunity at the right moment matters more than the right direction. Not everyone in the clan understands this. She is Nala's daughter, the one who will inherit this clan, inherit this territory, inherit everything Nala has built. She is faster, more ready. Not patient enough yet, Sadie. Some lessons cannot be taught with words, and Sadie has not yet waited enough times. Nala will not let anyone force her to move too soon, not even her own daughter. A fission-fusion society is a way of dividing awareness. Each individual in Nala's clan is learning different things from different corners of the territory. When they converge, the information converges with them. No single hyena in the clan needs to know everything. They only need to know their part and to know when to call for support. When one individual is lost, the network keeps working. When one zone grows scarce, the clan disperses elsewhere without losing overall stability. The lion, losing the adult male means losing the center of control. The wild dog, losing the alpha means losing the entire hunting structure for weeks. The hyena, lose any single individual and the system rebalances within days. Nala is not irreplaceable. She's simply the hardest to replace right now. Sadie does not yet understand this. She sees power as the ability to make instant decisions. This is not the first time Nala has carried out this morning's survey. The moment has not arrived, but it is approaching. Every morning before the clan begins to move, Nala observes in a systematic way. North first, because that is where Kago's pride operates. West second, because that is where the wild dogs begin their early hunt. South, to check the water sources. East, to see what moved during the night. 4 directions, 4 kinds of information every morning, never skipped. The night before, 22 of the clan were active to the east. They were carrying out the hardest hunt this species has ever attempted, one even the lion would not dare consider. From knowing exactly which way prey flees when panicked, from knowing where the defending herd's blind spots lie, from knowing which night is the right night. Every great hunt is the result of hundreds of mornings of silent observation like this. Every ecosystem runs on a set of unwritten rules. Who hunts where, who yields to whom. Those rules are never written down, yet every species knows them. They are etched into collective memory through thousands of confrontations, thousands of trials and errors. Nala wants to test them again. Wild dogs lose between 30 and 85% of the food they catch, mostly to hyenas. That pressure has shaped their responses, forming defensive habits. Thresholds of tolerance, boundaries they hold, and boundaries they release. Nala needs to know precisely which boundary is which. The first approach only told her from which direction the pack defends. The second will tell her how far they defend. She watches the pack move to see whether they will redeploy to block both directions. They do not. The conclusion from two approaches: the wild dogs defend strongly but rigidly. They respond to threats they can see, not to potential threats. Their pursuit boundary is roughly 200 meters from the food's location. They will not leave that threshold because doing so would abandon the food. That rivals would seize at once. When your system is predictable, you have created a weakness out of your own strength. That information is valuable, not for today, but for the northern campaign Nala is building in her mind. Every piece of data about a rival's limits is another brick. Nala is building something far larger than a single raid on food. And the Western board has just given her the final piece she needed. The North. That is the true target. But before Nala concludes anything, she will test it once more. Nala needs a law, not a hint. Does the pack's response change when facing greater numbers? The result, no meaningful change. That is crucial information. The boundary does not depend on the number of rivals in front of them. That structure is not flexible to the situation, and that makes it predictable. There is something strange about the relationship between hyena and wild dog. They compete with one another, but they also need one another. A wild dog pack with no real hyena competition actually becomes less efficient. Without external pressure, they have no need to optimize. Competitive pressure is an evolutionary force. Without a rival strong enough, you never develop to the limit of your potential. Wild dogs are this skilled because the hyena forces them to be. And the reverse is also true. This creates a paradox few consider. Nala does not want to destroy the Western wild dog pack. She wants to control the pressure she applies to them enough that they yield key space, but not enough to make them collapse entirely. She is trying to redesign her own position on the region's map of power, and now she can move to the next phase. The North, Kago's pride, where the true economic vacuum is opening. What is striking is not that the hyena takes the wild dog's food. What is striking is the proportion, 85%. That means nearly 9 in 10 wild dog hunts end with something taken before they finish eating. That pressure shapes how they operate. The wild dog's behavior in this region is shaped by the presence of hyenas, and the reverse is true. Two species are shaping each other through every interaction. Nala regards it as a tool. Where is the Western wild dog pack in its cycle of adaptation? It is most effective when the subject does not know it is being watched. And wild dogs do not track what is tracking them. Nala uses that blind spot as a window. Here is what few say about kleptoparasitism, the act of stealing another species' food. It demands more precise information than hunting from scratch. When you hunt yourself, you control the process. When you take another species' food, you must know where that species is, how many individuals, what its defensive response is, and whether the energy gained outweighs the risk. All of it must be judged correctly before acting. The hyena does this constantly, with a precision no other species in this ecosystem achieves. Not every conquest begins with an attack. Sometimes they begin with a question: is this area being used to its full extent? The Northern Territory is Kago's territory, but Kago's territory is a shifting concept. With no resident male, Kego's pride is bearing double the cost of defense, with half the resources. Every external threat is solved by the females. There is no one to stand guard when the females must hunt. The territory is too vast for so thin a defensive line. The lion system is built on a division of labor. The male defends the outer boundary, the females hunt and raise the young. When one half of that equation vanishes, the other half must carry it all. Nala's clan begins to extend its patrols northward. Merely a presence, constant. Nala does not need to win any single confrontation. She only needs to sustain the pressure long enough for Kego's system to break on its own. And Kego's system has begun to break, not from the outside, from within. Kego yields the western frontier. She loses the problem of resource allocation. She cannot defend everything at once, and she is wise enough to know which to keep. The western frontier matters less than the central zone, where the cubs are growing. She chooses the one that matters more. Nala expands her field of observation. Her clan begins to hunt in new lands. The distributed intelligence network grows by tens of square kilometers. Kego cannot see that from where she stands. She sees land lost. But what truly changed is not the boundary line on the ground. But there is a variable neither Nala nor Kego has yet accounted for. His name is Tau. And when he returns, everything will change in ways no one could predict. Cargo is not weak. She is an experienced lioness who has survived many harsh seasons, who has held territory through stretches when other prides collapsed. When the hyena appears at the edge of the hunt more often, Cargo must decide, defend or eat faster. When they draw closer, she must decide, fight or yield. Every decision costs energy. Every decision takes a small piece from the energy reserve Cargo needs to hold a vast territory with a dwindling number of females. Over the following weeks, Nala's clan begins to appear near Cargo's territory more often. Cargo hears that message. Tao hears it too. The northern vacuum is opening. Cargo reacts when Tao returns. The pride rejoices, the structure seemingly restored. Nala reassesses the board after Tao appears and adjusts her strategy according to what truly changed, not what merely seemed to change. Nala never has a detailed plan for each step, no fixed schedule, no timeline. Nala trusts the process. She believes that if you do the small things right, the large result will arrive on its own. Not because you force it to come, but because you have created the conditions in which that result is the inevitable consequence. There is a law in every complex system. The point of failure rarely comes from the outside first. It comes from within. Tao returns, the male lion of the marshland carrying all the power, that his absence stripped from Cargo's pride. Cargo's system can be restored, or at least that is what emotion says. Tao does not return out of loyalty. He returns because this is his territory. This is one of the most fully documented behaviors in lions. A returning adult male will drive out the young males in the pride. A young male of age is a potential rival, and a potential rival is not allowed to stay. Kago's pride drops from 8 to 3 females, not from an attack from the outside, because of Tao himself. Because the return the whole pride awaited carried a price no one foresaw. Kago's equation has changed entirely. Before, no male, a pride of 8, a vast but shrinking territory. Now, a male, but a pride of only 3, the territory still vast, and even fewer resources to hold it. The jaguar had been motionless for 40 minutes. This is the most critical part of the hunt. Before anything happens. A blind spot that lasts only 3 seconds. The Amazon's ultimate predator commits. 3 seconds. A 4-meter caiman, no longer whole. Approximately 55 million years ago, the Andes began to rise. This was not merely a geological event. It created the Amazon. As the Andes climbed, they blocked Pacific winds, creating a vast, low-pressure system drawing moisture from the Atlantic. A self-sustaining moisture cycle, what scientists call the flying rivers. The result of 55 million years is 7 million square kilometers of borderless forest. A river stretching 6,400 kilometers. Carries 20% of all fresh water on Earth to the ocean each day. % of all species on Earth live here. Not because the Amazon is rich in the conventional sense. Diversity here does not come from soil, it comes from time. The Amazon has existed long enough and remained stable enough for life to test every possible solution. Of all that the Amazon has produced, the jaguar is its most perfect expression. Amazon jaguars are the largest of their kind. Adult males reach 79 to 96 kilograms, significantly larger than the 57 to 68 kilograms typical of Central America. This difference is not written in their genes. It is made by the environment. The Amazon offers heavier prey, larger capybara, bigger tapir, greater caiman. Evolutionary pressure from larger prey selects for jaguars with greater mass and stronger bite force. At the same time, the Amazon has more competitors. Adding selection pressure from rivals as well. The Amazon does not produce small kings because it has no room for the weak. Before every jaguar hunt, the Amazon changes, not with sound, with silence. Within a radius of 200 to 300 meters, birds reduce or cease their calls. Mammals stop unnecessary movement. The jaguar is invisible before any prey ever sees it. It releases scent traces from sebaceous glands between its toes as it moves. Species with sensitive olfaction. Lizards, small rodents, detect rising pheromone concentrations and respond by reducing activity. That response radiates outward like a sound wave through water. Larger prey, capybara, tapir, cannot detect the jaguar this way from a distance. And that is precisely why they become prey. This jaguar holds and maintains a territory of 25 to 150 square kilometers. The boundary of that territory is not a line. It is a network of markers. Claw marks on trees at 1.5 to 2 meters above the ground. Urine sprayed against bark at specific angles, and scat placed at strategic points. Along regular travel corridors, these marks do not simply announce presence. They encode information: sex, age, reproductive condition, and when the mark was last refreshed. A male reads a female's marks to know when to approach. A female reads a male's marks to assess him before any meeting. Marks are renewed every 3 to 5 days. The frequency required to keep information current in humid tropical heat, where scent degrades faster than in temperate climates. On the sandbar mid-river, turtles have not come here to rest. They have come to lay eggs. This sandbar was selected against precise criteria: a slope sufficient to drain during light rain, sand grain size suited for digging and covering a nest, and most critically, a position receiving 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight each day. Nest temperature determines the sex of hatchlings in this species. Below 28 degrees Celsius produces males, above 32 degrees Celsius produces females. The choice of sandbar is not instinct alone. It reflects memory of sandbars that succeeded in previous seasons. And this is why this sandbar lies within jaguar territory. The range of this apex predator consistently covers the riverbanks, where prey density is highest. The capybara is the world's largest rodent and the single most important prey species in the jaguar's diet across the Amazon. Adults weigh 35 to 65 kilograms. They live in groups of 10 to 20, rarely venturing more than 500 meters from water. This behavior is not merely habit. Capybara are semi-aquatic. Their skin desiccates rapidly away from water, and they use rivers as their primary escape route. But that same dependence places them squarely within the jaguar's operating zone. A predator that spends 70% of its time along riverbanks. Capybara density in areas without jaguar reaches 50 to 100 individuals per square kilometer, with jaguar present 8 to 12. That difference reshapes the riverbank. Capybara at high density graze vegetation to the roots, eroding banks, sending sediment into the river. Rising sediment reduces light for aquatic plants, lowers dissolved oxygen, and shrinks fish breeding habitat. By hunting capybara consistently, the jaguar architects the shape of the riverbank. The wet season has not yet peaked. In a matter of weeks, floodwaters will rise 9 to 15 meters, sufficient to inundate 350,000 square kilometers of forest, erasing every sandbar, every territorial boundary, every incubating turtle nest. The dry season right now, the time when sandbars are exposed, when territories can still be red, is the most concentrated moment in the entire ecosystem. Everything requires the same diminishing resource, and everything knows it. This is why the Amazon is never still. It is always in the process of calculating something. The Amazon does not announce what it holds. It simply holds. Its rulers survive not through strength alone, but because they can read and understand this system more deeply than any other creature. But the Amazon grants no ruler a throne without challenge. Black caiman is no ordinary crocodilian. Measuring 4 to 5 meters in length, weighing 400 to 500 kilograms, it is the largest crocodilian in South America and one of the Amazon's foremost apex predators. But what sets it apart is not size. It is armor. Osteoderms, plates of bone embedded within the skin, extend across the back, flanks, and the upper surface of the skull. These plates, 3 to 4 millimeters thick and fused to the dermal structure, form armor that is flexible yet exceptionally resistant. No other large cat can penetrate them with a conventional bite. Only the jaguar. The Amazon's predator does not approach in the conventional way. The jaguar's zygomatic arch is the widest of all species in the Pantherini relative to head size. The temporalis muscle attached to this arch covers the greatest surface area of any large cat. The result: 887 newtons of bite force at the canine and 1,300 newtons at the molar position. The jaguar had watched this caiman from the sandbar's edge for over an hour. Before the jaguar reached the caiman, something else had already happened. The arapaima, a fish exceeding 100 kilograms and 2 meters in length, had retreated to deeper water. The arapaima was not threatened by this encounter. Its retreat was a response to environmental signals. Rising cortisol concentrations in the water released by the activated jaguar nearby. And retreat was the most rational response. The arapaima's movement became a signal to the surrounding ecosystem, other species reading its retreat as an indicator. Piranha arrived within minutes of blood reaching the water, not because they are aggressive, because they can detect blood at 1 part per million, equivalent to a single drop in an Olympic swimming pool. Chemical detection combined with the lateral line allows piranha to locate the source even in turbid water. In their normal diet, red-bellied piranha consume 70% plant material, seeds, fruits, submerged vegetation. But when blood is detected, the mode switches entirely. This is a rare, high-energy opportunity the piranha's nervous system is programmed to exploit completely. Piranha are the Amazon's essential cleaners by consuming carcasses and organic tissue before decomposition. They prevent disease and maintain water quality. Not every encounter between jaguar and black caiman ends with a successful skull bite. Black caiman can respond with a death roll if the jaguar attacks at the wrong angle or the caiman reacts in time. This caiman carries the marks of earlier encounters. Its lineage has persisted through 200 million years, not by never losing, but by knowing when to withdraw. This time it survived, and it is already revising its assessment. The Amazon flood does not begin in the Amazon. It begins in the Andes, when snowmelt from peaks above 6,000 meters combines with equatorial rainfall thousands of kilometers to the east, sending an immense wall of water down the basin for 6 months. Every species in the Amazon has calibrated its biology around these extraordinary water levels. When levels deviate significantly, the timing of the entire ecosystem is pushed off course. Black caiman is an ectotherm. Its body temperature determined entirely by the environment. This makes flooding both a challenge and an opportunity. When water inundates the forest, water temperature shifts with depth and canopy shade. Black caiman adjusts its flood season territory along thermal gradients, seeking shallow water near tree lines where temperature holds near 28 degrees Celsius, optimal for digestion and active hunting. At temperatures below 20 degrees Celsius, caiman reflex speed drops by 40%, explaining why jaguars tend to approach caiman in the early morning, when water temperatures remain low. The survival contest is not only a matter of size and strength, it is a matter of temperature and timing. In the wet season, black caiman does not resist the flood. It moves with it, deep into the flooded forest, where fish density surges as species migrate inward to spawn. The flooded forest provides richer feeding than the main river throughout these 6 months. But the wet season is also breeding season. Black caiman nests are built on raised earthen banks, a mound of decomposing leaves, branches, and plant material. rising 1 to 1.5 meters. The female remains near the nest for 3 months, not only to guard it, but to manage its temperature, opening it when too warm, adding material when too cool. This is active thermal management, rare among reptiles. When hatchlings break through, they emit a soft call. The mother misses none of them. But sandbars and raised banks disappear day by day as flood levels rise. Hatchlings must reach shallow water within hours of emerging. Those that fail will lose heat or be detected by piranha. First-year survival is below 10%. As water floods deep into the forest, the boto appears. The boto, Amazon river dolphin, has unfused cervical vertebrae, allowing it to rotate its head 90 degrees to either side. No other cetacean on Earth shares this anatomical feature. In the flooded forest, where tree trunks create a three-dimensional maze, the ability to rotate its neck allows the boto to pursue prey through corners that ocean dolphins could never navigate. Yet vision is entirely useless here. Amazon water is stained by tannins from decomposing leaves, opaque as strong tea. Black caiman and boto share the same flooded waters, the same prey, the same space, the same season. But they do not attack each other, not because they cannot. A caiman can kill a boto in open water, but the flooded forest changes the balance entirely. In the labyrinth of trunks and roots, the boto is far quicker and more agile. The caiman avoids deep forest water because it loses its advantage there. Each species has simply learned the boundary at which advantage transfers from itself to the other, and it avoids crossing that line. 200 million years. This lineage existed before the Amazon had a name. Before this river flowed in its current direction, before the Andes existed. The giant anaconda is the heaviest snake in the world. The largest, measured by professional research teams, reaches 8.8 meters, exceeding 100 kilograms. Claims of 12-meter anacondas typically come from unverified sources. Anacondas can stretch considerably when muscle tone is absent after death. In the dry season, giant anaconda moves to shallower, warmer water. Its ideal digestive temperature is 28 to 32 degrees Celsius. This matches the temperature of shallow, dry season river sections. The anaconda's detection does not rely on vision. It senses heat through thermoreceptor cells along the lip region and detects vibration through thousands of mechanoreceptors beneath the skin. From a semi-submerged position in mud, the anaconda builds a thermal map of everything within meters. Jaguar and anaconda use the same riverbanks on alternating shifts. The jaguar primarily from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., the anaconda primarily from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. One territory, two species, two non-overlapping shifts. This is timeshare ecology, dividing resources by time rather than space. The dry season breaks that system. When dry ground shrinks to a fraction of the total range, there is no longer enough space for two separate shifts. Overlap becomes inevitable. And this is why three-way encounters occur. Both were converging on the same capybara standing in the shallows. The jaguar stalked from the high bank, reading the wind direction, waiting for the capybara to step clear of the water. The anaconda read the capybara's body heat through the water from its lip receptors. Two different tactics, one target, the same moment. The capybara lifted its head. Nothing visible. The jaguar behind a trunk. The anaconda beneath the mud. But it smelled them. The chemical signatures of both predators had combined. Stress hormone concentrations in the water rising sharply. The capybara returned to the group. Two hunts failed simultaneously. Intraspecific competition theory predicts when two predators exploit the same resource, the one capable of inflicting greater cost on the other will dominate, but this is not a pair. This is a triangle. In a triangle, each apex fears another in a different way. The jaguar can kill anaconda and caiman. The anaconda can kill a jaguar if it seizes one from behind in water. The caiman can kill an anaconda if it clamps across its body. No single apex holds absolute advantage over both others simultaneously. This is why none of them strikes first. The cost of serious conflict, injury in an environment where injury leads to infection, weakened hunting capacity, and death, exceeds the benefit of displacing a rival from one patch of dry ground. Non-aggression is not the result of submission. It is the result of risk-benefit calculation. The longest survivors in the Amazon are not those that fight most. They are those that know when not to fight. From the canopy above, the harpy eagle adds a fourth dimension with a wingspan of 2.2 meters and talons 13 centimeters long, generating 530 newtons of grip force. It is the absolute predator of the forest canopy. But its presence does not only affect the canopy, it alters behavior on the ground. The landscape of fear concept describes how prey alter habitat selection based on predator distribution. Capybara in open ground know the harpy eagle patrols above. Capybara near the forest edge know the jaguar patrols below. Nowhere is absolutely safe. But each position carries a different risk profile, and the decision of where to stand is never random. In the dry season, all those landscapes of fear compress together. Less space means all risk gradients overlap. Only those with better judgment than their rivals, and those who pay the price for poor judgment. The dry season will continue, and the encounters that follow may not end as quietly as the statistics suggest. The Amazon is a place those who have lived in it for 10,000 years have not explored. They call it home. Those arriving from outside call it a mystery. It is simply a set of African savanna. Late dry season. A herd of zebras stands near the water's edge. Around 30 individuals in their own social order. At full speed, a lioness can only sustain a sprint for 100 to 300 meters before body temperature exceeds the safe threshold. On the Serengeti, lions fail in 75 to 83% of hunts because prey do not stand still and wait. It takes considerable time to recover from the full force of a prey animal's kick. Not much, but this is one of the prey's most desperate efforts to live another day. Kruger National Park, South Africa. Cheetah, the Savanna's champion sprinter. Built to race prey down across open ground. Peak recorded speed over 100 kilometers per hour, full acceleration in just 3 seconds. On the Savanna, 60 to 70 kilometers per hour is enough to close on a zebra. A lean animal with a lightweight frame would rarely risk its chances against prey weighing nearly 300 kilograms. But when young males run in coalition, the calculation shifts. Though they spend much of their time avoiding lions, youth gives them boldness. Zebras travel in large herds. They are rarely alone. That is the first challenge. Isolate the unlucky one. The young, the old, the injured. The hunter's dark-marked eyes are always sharp. A small group is separated from the herd. 2 cheetahs want to move immediately, but their numbers are not yet enough to threaten large prey. One makes an attempt to change the odds. But the adult zebra understands the nature of inexperienced predators. This inadvertently opens an opportunity for the one remaining. It has spotted a young zebra. The one who seizes the moment is the one who succeeds. It is smarter than its coalition partner. Following its mother's teaching, the most important thing when hunting large prey is to bring it down. It does, but the bite is not enough. The bite is too shallow to finish. The zebra's kick is instinct. It escapes with ease. The cheetah cannot give further chase. Its energy has limits. The hunger continues, but it will be more careful in selecting prey next time. Cape buffalo, 900 to 1,000 kilograms. Living in large herds, moving across vast ranges in search of grass and water, no fixed territory. Buffalo society is layered by age and sex. The main herd consists of females, young and juvenile males. Larger males typically form separate bachelor groups or live alone. The solitary older males, Daga boys, dried mud on their hides the mark of a habit of wallowing to reduce heat and shed parasites. Buffalo are not passive prey. They are extremely volatile and, more dangerously, deeply unpredictable in their next move. With dagger boys, confrontations can result in severe injury. In more than 2 decades of monitoring at Kruger National Park, buffalo are the single leading cause of lion death attributed to prey. Not because buffalo seek out lions, because when attacked, they cannot run fast enough to escape and will not stand still long enough to be taken. Lions choose buffalo for size. A single animal can feed an entire pride for 2 days. But size is also the risk. Male lions are especially vulnerable. Broken canines, fractured ribs, internal trauma. Standard approach for large prey: come from behind, dig claws into the rump or hindquarters, use body weight to drag it down, avoid direct confrontation. With zebra and wildebeest, this works when executed correctly. With buffalo, it triggers a defensive system built precisely to counter both approaches lions typically use. Mode 1. Attack from the rear. When claws sink into the hindquarters, the buffalo fires a backward kick simultaneously with a 180-degree pivot. Rotator muscles in the cervical and lumbar spine carry exceptionally high mass and torque capacity among bovidae, a structure connected to both offensive behavior and defense. The kick dislodges the grip. Mode 2. Attack from the front or flank. The boss, the fused horn base, is a composite structure. The frontal bone is calcium reinforced, covered by a thick, compact keratin layer. Total weight reaching 20 kilograms in a mature male. Bone handles compression. Keratin absorbs shear and distributes impact. A lion's canine, bite force of 1,000 to 1,800 newtons, is sufficient to penetrate the skull of most prey species. It is not sufficient to penetrate an intact buffalo boss. Overall lion hunt success rate, 17 to 25%. Buffalo accounting for a major share of the failures. The dagger boy presents a distinct variant of the same defense. The boss continues to thicken with age through slow but continuous mineralization. More significantly, no herd to flee with, no social pressure to yield. When lions approach, dagger boys typically countercharge before the approach is complete. Buffalo have the size and biological structure for active defense. Wildebeest do not, nearly 4 times lighter. No boss shield, no herd kick perimeter. Yet wildebeest have a higher survival rate than many species of comparable size. The reason lies in something invisible: timing. The giraffe is the tallest living land mammal. 4.5 to 5.8 meters tall. 800 to 1,200 kilograms in weight. Not a creature of open grassland. Giraffes' preferred habitat is sparse woodland and acacia savanna, where body height provides access to foliage no other species can reach. An adult requires 30 to 75 kilograms of leaves and shoots per day. 16 to 20 hours moving slowly through woodland, neck extended, a 45-centimeter tongue curling around each acacia branch. Giraffes do not live in tight herds like zebras. They move in loose groups of a few to a few dozen. No fixed territory, no clear alpha. The strongest bond is between mother and calf. Each day, a giraffe must drink once or twice. And this is the one moment when their anatomy creates a point of vulnerability. Lion hunting attempts targeting adult giraffes succeed in fewer than 6% of all attempts. The majority of giraffes killed in wild records are calves under 6 months or subadults under 2 years. The stage at which leg length is not yet sufficient for the moment arm to generate defensive force above the critical threshold. Yet some young individuals display remarkable courage. Adult giraffes are not attacked in woodland, they are attacked at the water's edge. The only place where the drinking posture forces them out of a state of defensive readiness. The Nile crocodile. With a bite force of 16,000 newtons, the highest of any living reptile, exploits that vulnerability in a different way. Like every species on the savanna, giraffes will do whatever it takes to reach fresh growth. And today, they will cross this shallow river. With their impressive height, this is no great challenge. The mother senses movement below and reacts on instinct to protect her year-old calf. But the crocodile's bite is one step faster. The mother's only means of defense becomes the very thing that strikes down her own calf. For lions, this represents a significant prize, and as with any significant prize, it requires a strong enough coalition and the endurance to bring such prey down. To bring down a creature that stands firm and moves in long strides, lions need more than a single leap onto a back 2 meters above the ground. They must read their opponent, and fortune favors this pride today. Their target has a broken leg. 3 lionesses pursue the target with relentless patience. One strikes from behind. Its effort contributes to the giraffe's mounting exhaustion. With a broken leg, this giraffe cannot, because when they stand together, the collective strength of these giants cannot be taken lightly. Wildebeest undertake one of the largest migrations of any living mammal. Approximately 1.5 million individuals moving in an 800-kilometer circuit across the Serengeti Mara ecosystem each year, following rain and fresh grass, with no fixed territory and no permanent leader. Calves are born at the start of the wet season, when grass is most tender and nutrition is highest. They stand within minutes of birth and are running with the herd within hours. There is no other way to survive the migration. Stop means to be left behind, and to be left behind on the Serengeti savanna without a herd means something unmistakable. Wildebeest are more accessible prey for lions. 250 kilograms, no boss shield, no 2-meter moment arm. Wildebeest are not equipped to fight back with force, but with timing. Lions target wildebeest more frequently than any other large prey species on the Serengeti. Hunt success rates against adult wildebeest on open plains are lower than commonly assumed. River crossings are the most dangerous point. There they must contend with one of the most powerful biters in the animal kingdom, while remaining alert to those waiting to ambush them on the banks. This is why calves under 6 weeks are the priority target of lions in any wildebeest aggregation. River crossings are the one environment that completely neutralizes the wildebeest's primary defensive mechanism. This is why the herd rushes across rather than advancing step by step to minimize exposure time in that unfavorable environment. Conversely, crocodiles are more effective at river crossings not because of superior hunting skill, but because they are operating in the one environment that neutralizes the prey's primary defense. Zebra, giraffe, buffalo, wildebeest, 4 species, 4 distinct biological solutions. All mammals, all with skeletal and muscular systems familiar to predators. The final species in this episode belongs to a different group entirely. The ostrich is the largest living bird on Earth. 2.5 meters tall, 130 to 150 kilograms in weight. Distributed across the dry savannas and semi-deserts of Africa. Not woodland or tall grassland, but open terrain where long sightlines and movement speed are the priority. The ostrich reaches 70 kilometers per hour in short bursts and sustains 50 kilometers per hour over distance. Outpace most predators on a straight course. It cannot fly, and their loss is the origin of what was gained in its place. The male takes incubation duty at night, black plumage blending with the dark ground, relatively difficult to detect. The female incubates by day, brown feathers matched to the dry earth. Neither leaves the nest when a predator approaches at a measured distance. The ostrich does not stay because it has no choice. It stays because it has the means. On the savanna, large predators learn quickly which prey not to attempt. Adult cheetahs almost never attempt a full hunt against an adult ostrich. Leopards observe from a distance and calculate the risk-reward. Lions occasionally commit to an attack and occasionally fall. Within class Aves, most species have 4 toes. The ostrich has 2. All contact area and force are concentrated into a single dominant point through a 10-centimeter toenail with a keratin structure of higher protein cross-linking density than most bird claws. Force concentrated into a smaller area means higher pressure per unit area. The same principle that makes a stiletto heel more damaging than a boot heel at equal weight. The ostrich does not kick backward, it kicks forward. This mechanism differs in its primary muscle group. While a hind kick is driven by the hamstrings and gluteal complex, the ostrich's forward kick is driven by antagonist muscles developed with particular strength in ratites because there is no flight musculature competing for resource allocation. Sequence: sidestep out of the predator's line of attack, pivot, then a forward kick tracking to the opponent's position. Kick force equivalent to 450 to 500 kilograms concentrated at the nail. Those powerful legs are also deployed in contests for mating rights. The stronger individual drives the rival back, even expelling intruders from its territory. The contest ends with the arrival of a much larger presence. But they do not know they have been observed by a lion. Exhausted from the fight, the loser is no longer alert. The lioness needs only to read the moment precisely. Plain zebra are the most common hoofed mammal on the East African savanna, with around 500,000 individuals moving through the Serengeti Mara ecosystem each year. Their herds are not random gatherings. A typical family unit consists of one stallion, 3 to 4 mares, and offspring from multiple seasons, held together stably for years, not separated even across migrations. The strongest individual does not set the direction. The lead mare is the one who guides. The stallion holds the rear at the outer edge. That is the position of threat assessment. By day, the herd grazes and moves slowly with grass and water. No fixed territory. The zebra's defensive architecture resides in the body of each individual and in the way they coordinate when a threat arrives. The lioness approaches by standard method, slow stalking through tall grass, pausing when prey looks toward her, continuing when prey lowers its head to graze. The objective: close the distance to under 40 meters before the charge. The closer, the shorter the time the prey has to react. The problem: an adult zebra sustains 50 to 65 kilometers per hour across several kilometers. A lion reaches peak velocity faster, but cannot hold it. When the hunter closes on the prey, the muscles do what they were built to do. The hindquarter muscle group, quadriceps, hamstrings, gluteal complex, carries a significantly higher proportion of type 2X muscle fibers than domesticated horses. Type 2X fibers are not durable, but generate maximum force in the shortest time. Sprinter fiber, not marathon runner fiber. When the kick fires, the superficial digital flexor tendon and gastrocnemius release their stored energy added to active muscle contraction in a spring mass mechanism. The result? 3,100 to 6,200 newtons at the hoof, equivalent to 450 to 900 kilograms of force. But it is not the force that makes this kick different. It is the reflex speed. When the lion's claws touch the skin at the rump, signals from type 1A receptors in the muscle spindle travel directly to the spinal cord, activating alpha motor neurons back to the hind limb muscles, bypassing the cortex entirely. Polysynaptic spinal reflex. The full cycle completes in 80 to 150 milliseconds. The brain receives the information after the kick has already occurred. One kick does not only end a hunt, it changes how that lion assesses this prey going forward. A pride with an injury history from zebra tends to approach from the flank rather than the rear and prioritizes subadults or foals over adults. That is collective experience, updated season by season. Zebras solve the problem through reflex speed and group coordination. But there is a species that meets the same threat with something entirely different: leverage. and the mass of gravity. The young lion will remember this. Genes change across generations. Behavior changes within a season. A wound changes things immediately. Across millions of encounters like this one, through generations, decades, ecosystems, both sides continue to change. Predators learn new approaches. Prey select for individuals with faster reflexes. Neither side wins permanently. That is why lions are still here, and so are the zebras. In any ecosystem, each species must continually change simply to maintain its current position, because every other species in that ecosystem is also changing. Predator-prey co-evolution is the textbook example. Lions improve, prey improve. Prey improve. Lions must improve further. There is no stopping point. Prey defense forces herds to keep moving, prevents overgrazing, maintains the vegetation. Predator failure rates keep herd sizes within the range the environment can support. All must follow the laws of natural survival. It is not only prey species such as zebra or antelope that live a life of constant struggle. Even the large social predators, lions among them, face death with regularity and from the earliest stages of life. In this savage kingdom, the lioness works constantly to keep her heirs clear of danger. Nile crocodile. This is perhaps one of the few genuine fears of the lioness. A lion cub is nothing more than a light meal to a Nile crocodile, and when they bite, the cub's fate is sealed. But there are days when crossing the river is unavoidable. The lioness must ensure her cubs survive to grow healthy, and one day become the apex predators they were born to be. Across hundreds of locations throughout Africa, the battleground between lion and crocodile is well established. But measured against the vast territory of lions, there's no breathing room for crocodiles. And so, to expand the battlefield, welcome to the Okavango Delta. This is the flood season, and the moment the greatest water creatures rise. This meal will not be peaceful. The male lion knows what waits in the floodwaters. To challenge a male lion, the Nile crocodile must reach 3 to 4 meters in length. The delta is its territory. This is the moment the Nile crocodile has been waiting for. The male lion hesitates. The jaws of the opponent are extraordinary in their size. But faced with the prospect of losing its kill, it must act. The young king wants to drag the kill away, but the crocodile wants to hold what lies within its territory. A male lion possesses the strength to hesitate and pull back, but what unfolds if the one meeting the crocodile has no way out? Have you ever seen a queen in a tight spot against a sheer cliffside? With the crocodile-rich river right behind her. Keep your eyes peeled, for that fateful scene awaits us at the Mara River cliffs. But first, other gutsy contenders are stepping up. The entire pack moves as a unit. Today's mission is not only water, they must cross this river. A pack of 10 is a noisy pack. They have reached the stretch of river that must be crossed. The two boldest go first, but at that point, the river runs deep. The rest must find the shallowest crossing to avoid drowning. Success, but they are being followed. Nile crocodiles have a healthy habit, basking. After a long night in cold water, the body temperature of this ectotherm has dropped sharply. Solar radiation is here to warm the hunting machine. The predator is completely at ease. But the wild dog pack sees it as a threat, so they push the crocodile back to where they believe it belongs. The Nile crocodile is displeased, but under the harassment of the noisy, relentless pack, it returns to the water. The giant will watch the arrogant little soldiers closely. The leopard moves alone. In 95% of circumstances, this is its strength. The leopard is the only predator on the savanna capable of hauling prey, sometimes heavier than itself, 6 meters up an acacia tree. It exists at the boundary between day and night, occupying a space no other predator commands. A 38% success rate per hunt, the lowest among the large predators. But the leopard compensates with patience. It has been watching this waterhole since yesterday. Young wildebeest have chosen this as their drinking spot. The dense vegetation scattering their scent from the predator, or so they believe. Both food and water until the leopard claims its lunch. This female leopard has survived her 7th dry season. The entire territory is, in most respects, hers. But drinking water remains a game of chance. The Nile crocodile does not welcome strangers in its water. But the leopard is not easily frightened. She prepared to face the creature that most animals fear. The Nile crocodile is the dominant predator of nearly every river in Africa. Its most powerful battleground lies where millions of creatures converge in search of life, the Great Migration. With a powerful chest set against lean hindquarters, wildebeest carry the weathered bearing of the savanna wanderer. The curved, sickle-shaped horns are the species' defining weapon, one that only fully mature males truly command. After a long and dusty journey, the vast herd has reached the fierce Mara River, its waters churned to a dark turbidity. Beneath the surface lies the domain of the Nile crocodile, the continent's most formidable silent killers. reaching up to 6 meters in length and exceeding 1,000 kilograms. They are armored in iron hide and armed with rows of sharp teeth. At the bank, the lead individuals strain forward, watching, weighing the leap across the line between survival and death. The immense pressure from thousands massing behind drives an inexorable, reckless surge forward. When the tension reaches its breaking point, one individual commits and throws itself into the current. This act instantly shatters the suffocating stillness that had gripped the entire bank. What follows is a living torrent pouring into the river like an avalanche, generating frenzied chaos within the murky water. The entire space trembles with bellowing and white foam. A deadly vortex forms silently, signaling the intervention of those powerful jaws. One wildebeest is pulled beneath the cold river and quickly becomes the focus of the crocodile pack. The water turns red in one section of the river as the fortunate ones continue their frantic swim toward the far bank. Each migration season, an estimated 250,000 individuals perish from exhaustion or predation. Data from Oxford University in 2025 indicates the actual population now stands at approximately 600,000 individuals. This figure is substantially lower than the 1,300,000 previously estimated, raising significant concern about the future of the Great Migration. When the last figures disappear into the distance, the river returns to its cold, indifferent stillness. Beneath the surface, the Nile crocodiles descend to wait patiently for the next wave. Above, the dark shapes of vultures begin to circle, scanning the ground with razor-sharp vision. The great feast of carrion begins formally as these aerial cleaners land on the ground. Ahead of the survivors lies verdant grassland, but that too is the beginning of a new, brutal cycle of survival. There is no time to rest. Instinct drives them onward along the endless road. The great journey of the wildebeest has always been an epic of nature's most brutal verse. But those who remain on the land lead lives no less magnificent. The battles for survival unfold at the end of the dry season. In Masai Mara, every lion hunt now carries an additional weight. The rains will not return for another 6 weeks. In those 6 weeks, a lion pride loses about 3/4 of its hunts, a failure rate documented by the Lion Project Mara across decades. The difference between success and failure lies in whether the cubs waiting at home survive the dry season. Tonight, there is a particular female warrior. The Pretender. She is the second youngest member of a pride of 6. She has hunted alongside her sisters hundreds of times. Tonight is the first time she goes out solo, a decision driven by ambition. Her target is an old female zebra whose knee joints have lost their flexibility. But the zebra's hind kick travels with a force of 3,000 newtons. And according to a 2018 study, 62% of zebra hind kicks aim directly at the predator's head region. This is not random defense, this is targeted retaliation. The pretender has never crossed paths with this particular zebra. She sees only a meal moving slowly, a complete information set by the hunting logic her mother taught her. Every hunting principle a lion has been taught points toward the same outcome. Attack fast, finish within 10 seconds. Her body no longer receiving full instructions from a control center that has just been impacted. The failure is undeniable. From this moment on, she is no longer a hunter. A lion with an injured jaw cannot bite. And a lion that cannot bite cannot share in the pride's meal. In the next 6 dry weeks, the pride will need to share food that is already scarce with a member who contributes nothing. Some will accept this, some will not. This is the moment when the lion's social structure reveals its absolute harshness. This is not a rare event on the Masai Mara plains. For every 6 male lions, one does not live past the age of 8. Because of injuries like these, inflicted by animals it once considered prey, this is the price for survival. Zebras do not only defend themselves against lions, they are also actively aggressive toward animals at the same prey level. When a species recognizes that it carries a defensive tool, capable of neutralizing even a lion, that recognition also shapes how it treats smaller animals, sharing the same water source. This is not self-defense, this is territorial assertion. And this is only the first chapter, because in another wild region, a similar prey is waiting with the same defensive mechanism, but a much larger body. In the wild, there are encounters that neither species chooses. Wild horses are populations of horses that have been released back into freedom over many generations and no longer depend on humans. They significantly heavier than the African zebra with sturdier legs and a high defensive capacity against the predators. That defensive capacity is concentrated in a single body part, the hoof. A wild horse weighing 400 kilograms does not just kick harder than a 250-kilogram zebra in linear proportion. It kicks harder by an exponential factor. The lion is in the middle of a hunt. A chain of predatory decisions that are familiar and effective. The lion accustomed to attacking the hindquarters of fleeing prey, but this powerful counter kick has no available answer. In a predatory brain that has been programmed, for 40,000 years. Far to the north, North America has a similar story worth telling. The moose weighs 500 kilograms. In a water environment, the moose has the advantage of leg height. The bear must swim to follow. After about 30 minutes, the grizzly typically gives up from exhaustion. This is a phenomenon repeatedly confirmed by the rangers in Yellowstone, Glacier, and Grand Tetons. Wild moose cause more incidents involving humans than grizzly bears when measured by annual encounter rates. A moose's kick, according to wildlife biologists, can cause serious trauma even to a bear when the angle is right. On the dry Mopane savanna, some animals do not move with the herd. When a male buffalo passes the age of 12, his strength sometimes becomes a threat. To his own herd, he lives alone, or with a few other old males. South Africans give this species a nickname, Black Death. Cape buffalo are responsible for about 200 hunter fatalities each year across Africa, more than any other large mammal on the continent. Tonight, the dagger boy, no herd, no sentries. 200 meters away, a young male lion has been observing since the early afternoon. He is a 3-year-old male lion, in the most difficult transitional phase of a male lion's life. He has been expelled from his old pride upon reaching competition age, and he is building his own territory. To prove his ability to dominate, he needs a major prize. A solo dagger boy, in theory, is a perfect major prize. He has done the first part of the lesson his mother taught him correctly. Behind is the blind spot. This is the part where the young lion's lesson is incomplete. The 2 hind legs of an adult buffalo carry approximately 40% of its body mass. For a 700-kilogram dagger boy, that is approximately 280 kilograms of force that can be released in the opposite direction. For the buffalo, the matter ended at the moment of contact. A male lion with chest injuries cannot compete to build territory. He will need to find another area with a softer competitive structure, or he will not live long enough to try. Zebra, wild horse, and Cape buffalo, all 3 species use the same defensive mechanism, the hind kick, and all 3 force the same predator to pay a price. But what happens when the weapon is not 2 hind legs, but a single front leg as long as a person's height? The giraffe is known through images of grace, gentleness. But a front leg kick from an adult giraffe generates approximately 140 kilograms per square centimeter. This force is enough to cause serious injury even to an adult lion. A solo lion challenging an adult giraffe is a rare decision. A well-organized pride of 4 to 5 members will sometimes try. One starts the chase to push the giraffe toward favorable terrain, while the others wait at choke points along the retreat path. 5 meters, 1,000 kilograms. The giraffe has survived many encounters with lions in her lifetime. The chase begins as 2 lionesses charge from behind, a pace fast enough to maintain distance from the pride, and slow enough to keep her balance for a defensive strike if needed. A young lion in the pride, one who trusts in his individual speed and strength, decides she can finish the chase early with a bold leap. The lion charges out of the pride's formation, and she enters the personal defense zone of an adult giraffe in waiting position. This is how nature teaches the lesson that lion parents cannot teach in full. A well-organized pride, an undisciplined member, a life with no second chance. But what happens when there is not just one hunter and 1.5 million wildebeest arrive like a wave? The fight continues into the dry season in the Okavango Delta. This is the warthog. The upper canines of an adult male warthog can reach 25 centimeters in length. In documented extreme cases, longer than 60 centimeters. The lower canines are shorter, but that is the lethal point. Each time a warthog opens its mouth to eat, to snort, to yawn, the lower canines rub against the upper canines. The animal sharpens its own defensive weapons through the act of breathing. According to wildlife researchers in the Okavango, an adult lioness living in a warthog-dense area takes about 10 to 15 warthogs each year. The problem is, of the 10 to 15 warthogs lion takes each year, the majority are juveniles or small females. A mature male warthog is a different number. The hunting reflex has no mechanism to halt mid-action. After that, she does not move again. The lioness cannot return to her pride before dawn. Her pride will never find her. The Okavango Delta erases traces faster than anyone knows. Finally, the fight takes us to an African river where two prehistoric species face each other. The Mara River. August. The southern crossing point. Returning to the Mara River. This time, the predator has been waiting underwater. Nile crocodiles live in this crossing all year round. In the other 10 months, they sustain themselves with large fish, water birds, and small animals coming to drink. In the 2 migration months, July and August, they need do nothing other than wait. The wildebeest and zebra herds will come. The great feast will cross the river. Some will not make it across. For the predators of Africa, no event provides as many comparable meals as the Great Migration. Nile crocodiles at Mara crossings have been recorded as being involved with thousands of migrating individuals each year. Not because of superior hunting skill, but because of the volume of opportunity that the migration provides. A Nile crocodile in the act of holding prey in its jaws is typically locked in position for several seconds. An evolutionary mechanism allowing the species to secure the prey before performing the death roll. During that lock period, the crocodile's 1,000-kilogram body, half submerged, becomes a shallow obstacle in the current. For a 300-kilogram zebra running from behind under the pressure of the herd behind it, that obstacle is no longer a predator. But this female zebra does not try to wrench her leg free. She does what perhaps her ancestors taught through a survival gene line. The kick lands on the weakest point of the crocodile's mouth structure. In the half-second when the reflex forces the crocodile to reassess his grip structure, the zebra pulls her leg free. The zebra will carry that wound for the rest of the migration season. But she has escaped. This is what the Great Migration teaches us about the concept of the apex predator. The Nile crocodile has a bite force of 350 kilograms per square centimeter, the strongest among living animals today. But they are not an obstacle from which there is no escape. The Nile crocodile can also be a stepping stone when the herd is large enough, when the pressure is high enough, and when an individual prey has enough will to attempt a second kick after being caught. Tonight, 5 battles, 5 underdogs. 5 kings have learned the same lesson. In the wild, the title apex predator is a contract with the prey. Not a guarantee. This is animal fight night when prey strike back. In a world of phantoms and deception, the spotted hyena has been imprisoned by prejudice for centuries. A cowardly scavenger, a thief in the dark? No. When the lens of science illuminates the land of death, their true nature emerges, overturning every old notion of power in the wild. The spotted hyena does not wait for death, they create it themselves. Scientific reality demonstrates this. These are top-tier hunters, directly bringing down up to 95% of their food. As a cursorial predator, an endurance hunter, they operate with an iron heart, constituting up to 1% of body mass, twice the proportion found in a lion. This superior respiratory system allows them to maintain a relentless pursuit across many kilometers of savanna. With a hunting success rate reaching the unthinkable level of 92%, they are the true predators of the plains. And that is bad news for this wildebeest. In panic, it chooses to take refuge in a stream of predators on the planet. The strength of hyenas does not come from spontaneity. It is operated under a rigorous matriarchal social structure. An empire shaped by unique biological transformations, abnormally high androgen concentration, right from the embryonic stage. The aggression of females is forged from the intrauterine environment itself. It molds warriors, with testosterone levels exceeding those of males. A hyena clan is led by an experienced matriarch, holding the survival memory and tactics of the entire collective, with a clear and unchanging social hierarchy. In this kingdom, power is an inherited legacy. The leader's offspring automatically claim the noble rank of their mother, from birth establishing dominant status over other members of the clan as long as they are female. In contrast, the males have very little status in the clan, frequently forced to accept the lowest position in eating rituals and social interactions. The dominance of the matriarchs does not stop at internal management. It is the engine driving the entire system of asserting sovereignty across the savanna. Tails raised upright, a biological signal asserting power and excitement when an unfamiliar olfactory signature is detected in the space. A rival pack has just trespassed on the territory. In savanna confrontations, females are always the vanguard force. A male black-backed jackal has fallen into the daughter matriarch's sights. This is not a hunt. The hyena is performing an act of interspecific exploitation. Jackals are the most skilled at locating fawns. By silently shadowing, the hyena turns the jackal into a biological radar, waiting for the right moment to seize the prize from the opponent's cunning. Meanwhile, the male jackal's mate faces a real nightmare when the hyena matriarch has discovered their den. In the natural world, compassion is a luxury that does not exist in the survival equation. Intra-guild predation, eliminating the offspring of competing rivals, is an ecological strategy to protect future resources for the clan. The mother jackal tries to distract. However, the architecture of nature has become the final shield. The den entrance is too narrow for the predator's massive size. The hyena clan returns to the original plan, abandoning an unfeasible target. To preserve energy for larger hunts, that is kleptoparasitism. Thanks to the advantage in body size, the contest ends quickly. The male jackal must accept the leftover scraps from his own efforts, but at least his pups are safe. The fortunate luck of the jackal pups, or the leftover scraps from the defeated, are not enough to relieve the physiological pressure weighing on the entire clan. They need more to fill their stomachs. And when the first sounds of the wildebeest and zebra herds echo from the horizon, it is the signal heralding the return of the massive protein source on the savanna. However, in a society driven by extreme hunger, patience becomes a luxury. A few young members, lacking the guidance of the matriarch or the experienced eldest daughter, decided to carry out an impromptu hunt. Lacking tactical coordination and the necessary composure, their attack becomes chaotic. The wildebeest easily decode the clumsy attack direction and escape, leaving the inexperienced hunters in futile energy expenditure. A few hours later, the moment of the true masters has arrived. With a superior night vision system, they quickly locate a solitary wildebeest. This is an ideal target, an exhausted being after a long migration journey, with legs grown heavy from the accumulation of lactic acid. In a desperate effort to find safety, the wildebeest mistakenly believes the water will be the barrier blocking the enemy, but in reality, it is trapping itself in a biological snare. The water resistance neutralizes the prey's burst speed, while the matriarch and her daughter establish a landscape of fear right on the bank. Their relentless... The cries of the prey echo for many kilometers, serving as a signal to summon the entire clan. Once again, the matriarch confirms her role as the irreplaceable cornerstone of the pack. Her experience is the only line between survival and ruin, a legacy of power that will continue to be passed down to her eldest daughter before the formal succession to this matriarchal kingdom. Dawn at the Masai Mara marks the fragile boundary between life and death, where every breath is stalked. Just one small mistake is enough to end everything on the burning plains of Kenya. Among the golden ocean of grass, a solitary lioness is beginning to write the first chapter of a legend. A solitary traveler crossing endless fields where the wind carries the moisture of the Mother Earth and the buzzing sound of insects. Lacking territory and companions, this lioness relies only on the survival instinct refined through millions of years of evolution. Fate cannot subdue the will of the lone wanderer as she gradually finds kindred spirits adrift on the savannah. Thanks to keen vision and natural attraction, the future leader begins to gather young lionesses under her command. The number of members grows from 3 to 5 and reaches 7 individuals, laying the foundation for a new empire amid the open grassland. With unyielding determination, a superior individual naturally leads a collective that did not gather merely by chance. This army operates as a perfect survival machine, where the power of life and death lies entirely in the hands of the female leader. Under the slanting evening sun, the waves of golden grass conceal the deadly steps of the lion pride advancing. Each movement reaches absolute precision as the main hunters begin to deploy their formation. Communicating through eye contact and body language, these warriors execute a coordinated plan with no gaps. The leader holds the center, flanked on both sides by guardians in the deadliest ambush formation in the wild. Not far away, a herd of zebras still grazes peacefully, completely unaware of the silent shadows narrowing the distance. Pressing in through low bushes, 3 lionesses lock onto the target with cold yellow eyes. The distance shortens to less than 30 meters, while the zebra herd is still entirely paralyzed by the impending danger. When the signal is given, the leader explodes with terrifying speed, directly attacking the unfortunate prey. The thunderous roar tears through the air, pushing the zebra herd into a vortex of extreme panic. One individual collapses, marking the brutal first victory of the young coalition. However, this is just the beginning, as the success rate of lion hunts typically ranges from 25 to 30%. Each failure, accounting for 3/4 of attack attempts, becomes a costly lesson for the leader to master the harsh land. The roar of this species can carry up to 8 kilometers, a proud declaration of sovereignty sent to the entire savannah. Yet the wild world still holds other formidable rivals waiting for this new ruler. Under the fiery sunset, a dark mass of muscle moves majestically. Weighing nearly 900 kilograms with armored skin, this creature possesses curved horns resembling the helmet of an ancient warrior. That is the buffalo, the most formidable giant on the savannah, with a surprising agility hidden behind a stubborn appearance. The dark eyes constantly scan the space, missing no small movement from lurking assassins. High vigilance is the survival key of this species through millions of years of history. They form impregnable blocks of strength by maintaining herd life from a few dozen to hundreds of individuals. Although unity is the core strength, The desire for power still always burns within the herd. Under the burning twilight sky, two giant males advance toward each other with a clear intent of dominance. The blazing eyes and confronting horns signal an uncompromising showdown about to begin. The sound of clashing iron horns echoes throughout the plain like sledgehammer blows. Each charge carries the staggering momentum of a 900-kilogram body, making the ground tremble and red dust billow. The two duelists stagger back, then continue lunging at each other, turning the contest into a test of the limits of both physical strength and will. Whoever hesitates first will immediately lose their position and must accept a humiliating defeat. We have just witnessed the rawest glimpses of the paradoxical struggle for survival between predator and prey on the savanna. Which animal in today's episode completely opened your eyes to the wild? Was it the wildebeest's solitary decision to stand its ground, or the multi-layered defense from a buffalo family? Leave your experience in the comments. Your insight is the tribute these species deserve from those who witness them. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to join me on my upcoming field trips, where we will continue to decode the most mysterious secrets of survival. And if you want to discover more about other wildlife, keep exploring at Win or Die, full episode. Chakra, Deadliest Battles for Survival, or Lion Attack, the Mapago, Battle for Survival.